Hello everybody. Wow, live, and I'll be doing a live later this evening, 6:30 my time. And I have to go lay down, I have to close my eyes. Lots of volume of information, and I'm just writing in my notebook. But, excuse me, Justices Breyer and Gorsuch from the U.S. Supreme Court of the United States, the United States Supreme Court, and I can't go into that meeting with them. I'm Canadian, so they're doing an upcoming one with the board of directors from many states and the Congress on constitutionalism. They've created a whole works there, multi-party, and I couldn't go forward after this presentation. They thanked me. Tanya, that I met in Texas, she answered my question. They said, "Thank you, folks. I could never get any of this in Canada. Never in a million years would I be allowed to sit in what I just sat through." And on the back wall, folks, the back wall is the First Amendment, every stone slab since the founding. They go through so much with me, and it's really fast-paced. I'm not a lawyer, so it's hard for me. Some things I didn't understand. Some things I do, and I've studied before. But, of course, I have a tremendous amount to study now. And it's upsetting. It really is upsetting when we look at the United States of America versus Canada. We don't have Solicitor Generals anymore, folks. Not since 2005. They were wiped out. But guess what? Not surprisingly, they're not even defined anything like the United States of America, the 50 states. They're nothing like that. Solicitor Generals of every state get to work with and go to the Supreme Court. They can approach the Supreme Court, work with them. That's not the case in Canada. We don't have any. Again, they haven't been around since 2005. And more than that, because they've been transformed into Privy Council. Their powers now of appointed cabinet, kept secret from all of you, but it didn't matter anyway. They never had the same powers, the same definition in legal speak as they do in the United States. So a lot of times I think Americans, especially at that high end, they take for granted that just because Canada has the noun in its system and you've assumed that they're a democratic first world society, they most certainly are not. And I'm going to tell you, folks, Democrat and Republican alike, because the two justices, one Democratic, one Republican. Just as the Solicitor Generals, one Democrat and one Republican. They debated. And all of that I was allowed to be a part of. Explosive knowledge from terrific minds. High end. Lots of notes. But we get into pluralism, and my friend Tammy, I'm going to have to message her, because I had a big fight on Twitter Spaces with Canadian lawyers and Canadian politicians, MJ as well too, and there was these Canadian bar lawyers or Canadian politicians, and they try to talk down to me, and they try to minimize me. They try to use pluralism. That's what I learned today. I got a massive gift of knowledge from the greatest minds in the United States of America, holding the top positions in the United States of America. And if anything they taught me today was understanding and knowing when we go forward with our party concepts that Canada holds very strongly within the crown. That's traditionalism. Whereas I am more originalism, and what the people would be originalism. And I'm not saying traditionalism isn't completely removed, because if you want to respect international law, you want to work with the world, traditionalism has its place, but not as a guiding principle of the upper echelon and elite, that they hide in that traditionalism and completely wipe away all originalism, because that doesn't work in their system. And Canada is moving vastly towards traditionalism, and I will get to this down the road, folks. I will educate those in our party on these concepts, because they're founding father concepts you have to know. The other thing is textual and pluralism. Again, USA and the Supreme Court, they largely in every judgment in the last 50 years, absolutely, they go by textual reality of the Constitution. Whereas Canada, pluralism. Wow. We're going to look at the text, but we're not going to talk about it if we don't like to. In fact, we're going to go with pluralism, meaning we're going to make multiple meanings. We're going to make it mean for us and what the Crown wants it to mean, not the textual meaning of the Constitution as its written word. We're going to go above and beyond that, or outside of that, with the Crown and what the Crown thinks we should make it to mean. And that is absolutely Canada, 100%. And this is the fight and the battle in the United States. And they go through it. So many notes, so much to go through on time and textual, time and pluralism. And what I mean by that over time is there was a time in America's founding. There was a time of America through the Civil War. There's a time of America through the growing, the building, the new country, the 50 states, and what things mean at certain times and what we, the people, think at those times. Just like what we, the people, would think going into constitutional conventions 2025, let's just say, and what we would bring forward to mean as the word that's going to last the test of time. It's explosive, the amount of knowledge I got from the United States of America. Real solicitor generals from both sides of the fence, real Supreme Court justices too, and I named them Breyer and Gorsuch. I won't get that private time with them. I'm Canadian. They thanked me. Tanya was there. I met her in Texas. She said, "Thank you, Dave. We're sorry we can't bring you into this group. You can't have one-on-one time with our justices." And that's okay. I get it. I'm not. At least they're kind. At least they're considerate. At least I can be in a forum with them. You know how much that means? When in Canada, I'm not even worth the shit on the bottom of somebody's boot that they stepped in at a dog park. You know, like, how dare you? You contact Lieutenant Governor Samuel County's office. How dare you? I won't be troubled with you so unworthy and beneath me. You will not have audience with myself or anyone in this office. Think about that. That's the country you live in. Yet, as a foreigner with intellectual prowess, I can go across the United States and meet their greatest, and you're treated like an equal. You can read, you can craft, you can look at things at a higher academic level, you can understand. Come on in, no problem. You write really well. If you can write well, you can interpret things correctly. Hey, we want you. Sure, come on in. We love it that you want to be involved. We love civics. And they went through that too. And all the education we don't have in Canada, they all went through it. They all went through it. Notes, so many notes, and I have weeks of work. You know, it has to be done. It's just sad. It's sad that this is Canada. Nothing like that. And to see the unity, at least in the judiciary, at least in a Congress-appointed system, free for all parties, and with only one rule, there will be no bipartisanship, meaning, here you go, it's open to all, it won't be skewed one way or the other, it's in full bipartisanship, and it's not to be skewed by each or other, left, right, or whatever narrative. It's what is, not what you want it to be. And that is important. And what I got today, it's terrific. And I'm going to learn better to deal with politicians and lawyers going forward. A lot of this was absolutely for me. And I'm going to talk to Tammy Douglas again. And I think I would like to do that Twitter Spaces again. As now I'm seeing it, like the Americans are showing me, look, you can't go at them so abruptly. You can't go with so much force. Yes, you're right. But you have to understand how they see their superiority, their idea of pluralism, their absolute idea of traditionalism, meaning forget you and any originalism of text, of history. They don't want it. They look at their power in their politics, and we don't matter. And that is textually written in the Constitution. But you have to realize their plurality, their traditionalism, that it's just, that's their system. They live it, they love it, and we're not there. We're not important. They don't care about us. And I have to just take that and not be so angry. I have to understand when they speak, and I have to take what they say to me when it's wrong and realize I have to cut up that pluralism for all of you when I'm in those spaces or I'm in those debates. And I have to bring it back every time without getting angry, without saying, hey, you're lying or you're wrong. Because politicians don't believe they're wrong. And like the Solicitor Generals, I'm too much information in a short period of time, too much. But what I have to understand is, like they were saying, that the legislators, especially in traditionalist senses, in this pluralism, that they don't get permission from Supreme Courts or look at things constitutionally. I'm learning to do that, but they don't. And they don't care if they do or not. Go ahead, challenge me. Who cares if I get away with it? Who cares? It's only the subjects. It's only the savages. That's not the same in the United States. And politicians get in trouble for that. And they get called out by the Supreme Court all the time. And that's what I learned today. Republican or Democrat alike. And you should have heard what I learned about their inner workings, how the Democrat justices and Republican justices are getting along. They went through anti-vaccination. And the idea, the Supreme Court talked about it, folks. I heard that from the Solicitor General, who was in there with the 80 million mandated vaccinations in U.S., where the Supreme Court said, no way are we ruling on this. In no way, shape, or form, any of us can go through the textual Constitution of the United States and rule, because there's nothing in there on it, and you can't make people, and not one of us from any party are going to do it. And they threw it back on the government. You do what you're going to do, and we'll deal with it then. That's what happened. You saw what happened in the States. Now, opposite in Canada, mandated, forced, crammed down your throat. And again, where is it in the Constitution of the United States, or of Canada? See, I'm all messed up now. They went through abortion in all reality. Can you imagine sitting there and taking 2 out of 9 justices from the Supreme Court of the United States, 2 Solicitor Generals from the United States, and they all go into it, and I get to sit there listening to all of it and post my questions, which I didn't have any, because all I could do is say, I'm here for comparative analysis of Canada, and maybe I should have kept that shut, but it's for you all, it's for me, it's for our country, it's to take that comparative analysis which they all loved, and Tanya knew right away. I was the only one she responded to, and it was nice, it's, and they know me now, they know who I am. That's pretty exciting. It's, think about that. I'm not even a lawyer. I'm not even good enough to be the shit stepped in on the bottom of any of these Canadian divine politicians, lawyers, and justices' boots, or the divine crown's boots. But yet, in the United States, look at me go. Look at me go. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful day. But I gotta go close my eyes. I have to be ready for Sheffrey. These kinds of things at that level are really, really hard on a person. They drain. And that's why I do notes. I do screenshots. I even screenshotted Tanya and them answering me, so that way I have it. I know everybody asks me, oh, can you share it? Can you record it? Well, one, I tried that before in a couple on the Canadian side, and it comes out as gibberish. But if I did something like that and that went out, it's the reason why I can't even go forward with the two Supreme Justices. I'm not on the board of directors, and I'm not Canadian, I'm not American. See, I'm really flustered. But it's just wonderful what I'm learning anyway. It's incredible. And folks, we have much to share, much to do, and much to process. And these are things that I have to iron out in reasonable speak, in plain speak. And these are going to be the guiding principles going forward for all the legal experts we bring. And I think that's what this was, in a bipartisan meeting, Republicans and Democrats in their highest level judiciary. Just so beautiful. I got so much on Justice Kavanaugh, Thomas, and so many more that they spoke of, the Solicitor Generals did, and in their first person, and it's wow, incredible, incredible. And these are the hopes and aspirations I have for Canadians and First Peoples, that we can make sure that's delivered for you. And I love it because they're the ones who told me, don't let lawyers write your Constitution. Don't do it. But we're going to get lawyers to teach you how, but you, the people, are. And absolutely, it's going to be in plain speak. But these key concepts and what this was today, I guess, was reinforcement that understand these really important concepts, because as a Canadian, we don't live in textuality judicially or legislatively, and we certainly don't live it in the executive. And I know I need to explain that more to you. We don't live in originalism, not at all. We live in traditionalism in this country, at least for the first class. And I have to start looking at that. And that's what the Americans taught me today. And I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot to go through. But that is going to help me debate. When I understand when they're talking to me and talking down, and the way they're talking to me, and I'm going, what, this isn't constitutional, it makes no sense. I have to take it, and I have to understand their traditionalism. I have to take their traditionalist concepts and make an ass out of them that way. Not necessarily what's legally truthful, even though they're lying. I have to make mincemeat of their traditionalism, which is their crown. And I'm learning, and I guess I'm going to message Tammy Douglas and MJ as well too, and then talk to them about this stuff, because as Canadians, all of us, from all our different concepts and ideas and all the bullshit they pump at us and how we get so twisted up, that these are like absolute things we have to understand as the little people going forward, or you're not going to do well. You're going to fall into that traditionalism, the corruption of the crown. You're going to fall into that pluralism where they say this, but they mean that, or they said this today, but they changed the meaning over here. They interpret a different way tomorrow, or people in the future do. And that's what we got to cut out. And when we debate these people, we got to understand that that's how they work. That's how they've been programmed in their traditionalism, in their pluralism. And that's their double speak, their lying, and it is lying. But we have to take it a different way, and that's what I was taught today. I know I'm not doing a very good job right now of explaining it because I'm overwhelmed, and I need to just take a half hour to an hour nap and be ready for Sheffrey and review. Oh, I see MJ Phillips there. So I have a lot to share with you and Tammy Douglas. Wow. And I would like to go back on her live in that group where they got high-level politicians in Canada. This is a Canada-wide thing. And high-level legal people, lawyers and justices, crown prosecutors, and I have to take them on in a different way. I have to understand this. This is an education by the top legal minds in the United States of America. Isn't that like incredible? Just so incredible. God bless you all. Share. Get it out there. These things, these words said, people have to hear these words, these speaks, because it's important for all Canadians and First Peoples to start looking at what those things mean. And I'm going to work at it. It's going to be education. I have these notes. They haven't gone anywhere. And then I can prove. I have the screenshots. That's the representative of the Supreme Court of the United States. That's me. You see my name. You see everything. They're answering me. You know, and those people are real. Those screenshots, those are real. And it's an incredible journey I'm on. Like, out of millions of people, and I'm not even a lawyer. It's I started this so long ago through my friend Steve Thompson, an invite to the University of Alberta, and as well Mark Seidel flying out from the United States to write a piece about me in political and intellectual, you know, in a law journal, and to be sitting with 3 presidents, he did, and to have that man come out to Edmonton, Alberta 5 years ago almost now, just to interview me, and from there, hundreds of them all over the world. It just doesn't stop, and how far I've gone in the United States, and I'd be a liar, you know, a lot of parts of me says, you know, just shut her down, go to the States, call her a day. You're better off working on the executive there. I'd probably do tremendously well. More than that, I could build a political party there very easily. I don't know why they can't do it in the States. They talk about money and all these things, but maybe it's my perspective that's different and what I was able to do in Canada. I think that's what gets them kind of interested too. Like, where does this guy come out of nowhere with no money? How does he do these things? Like, he has no money. He's a nobody, but he does it. He does things that he can build things that other people don't build or don't have the political will to build. That's what I think it is. Or the courage of conviction. I don't know. But, you know, some parts of me do think I can do this in the United States. I could be going against Republicans and Democrats. Get your citizenship, wait out the years. They're all old men and women going at it anyway. I'd be an old man, you know, going at it there too. I could probably do it and probably have a lot better of a success rate. But, you know, it's my country and it's my children here and my family. Like, I want to see the change. It's wrong what our country is and what it could be. And I want to see that done in my lifetime. You know, many say it'll never happen, not in my lifetime. But then again, they said I couldn't do what I did in 2019. I did. It may not have gone anywhere. And bad players come forward. They've hijacked it, ruined it. We clearly see by the candidate list. You know, it's sad. It's back to the mainstream parties. The crown, corrupted by all. So, you know, it's got to be done. This party's got to be done, and we got to get this done. And this stuff today, this massive presentation, like it was written for me, is just so beautiful. But I'm going to nap. I'm going to clear my head, review all my stuff. It's going to be Bill S8, the Immigration and Refugee Act, everything that's been changed, and so much more. We're going to get into the coming politics 2024, at least the five. I'll look at my dirty hand. Hard at work today on a few things. Yeah, five things. 5 things, 5 MPs. That's what we're going for. things are going to monumentally move our party forward in 2025. God bless everybody. Have a great day. Share, share, share. It's the words in the title. Canadians, and go by Webster's. Traditionalism. Pluralism. That's absolutely all of our crown, our judiciary, our executive, and our legislative. Understand it. Traditionalism, pluralism, Webster's Dictionary. What we want to do, originalism, textualism, Webster's Dictionary. Don't go Canadian Oxford, don't go Oxford UK, already corrupted by the Crown. Webster's, don't ask AI, don't do any of that. Go Webster's definitions. Those four, that's what we have to do in a founding father capacity. That's what we have to understand. Canadians don't understand these concepts. The vast, vast majority don't understand them. And there's a lot more than just that when we get into time and evolution of countries and peoples. And we're highly institutionalized. So it's a major road ahead. Okay, God bless. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you all, 6:30 Alberta time, 9:30 New Brunswick time, I believe 8:30 Ontario time. And it's going to change across Saskatchewan, Manitoba. Bye now.